Hey guys, it's Diabetic Girl. Did you ever just have a day at work where you're like, I'm sorry, my school didn't train me how to work with stupid? Yeah, that's that's about where I'm at today. I worked from 8 to 5 today, and literally the only thing that came out of my face for most of today is, I'm sorry, my school didn't train me to work with stupid people. So anyways, hey guys, it's Diabetic Girl. I want to do a survival guide today because I haven't done one of these in a really long time. And it's like a survival guide, but it's like kind of a rant because I always get kind of ranty, so I'm just gonna call it a survive rant. Does that sound weird? Sounds totally weird. We're just gonna call it a survival guide rant. There we go. That sounds like normal English. That sounds like something an educated person would say. I am educated to an extent. Alright? I will give you that. So anyways, today's survival guide is based off of how to survive in school with your diabetes. And for those of you who are like, Diabetic Girl, it is February. Why are you making this video now? Well, let me just tell you a little story. So, in my last video, I mentioned that I had applied to the Academy of Arts University out in San Francisco. And, ladies and gentlemen, I will be starting there in June of 2016 with my film and media productions major, which is based in editing, and I am so excited to start. Since I will be going online, most of this will not apply to me, but I figured if I can make the world go round and help you guys out, I would do it. I know I've done stuff similar to this before. I've done a final exam and midterm study guide, and a couple other ones in which I can't remember the names off the top of my head, but I figured I would give you a new and improved version that's sort of everything all together in one video, and I'm really excited to do this one today, and yeah. So, for those of you who are newly diagnosed, you know, I understand it can be very hard to accept your diabetes. And I will put the link down below to my Embracing Your Diabetes video, and hopefully that'll help you with this video, because everything always just intermingles and interties, and it's wonderful, really it is. I also have a video about you know, friendship and how that can intertwine into school and everything, so I'll put that one down below, and that one also has to do with Diabuddies, so I'll just put all the links down below. I will put the original survival guides down below as well, and hopefully this will help you guys out, because I know it helped me when I was going through school and now going back to school. Guys, I'm so excited to go back. I literally want to go to Staples and spend like $700 probably on stuff I don't even need. I just want to buy like every color notebook, every color binder, and like no one's ever going to see these because I'm online, but I want to. I want to take ridiculous notes. I want to buy pretty colored pens so I can color code my notes. Like, this is literally so bad right now. And then I, want to type all my notes so I have, a permanent copy of them and, print them and put them in binders. Like, this is who I am. And let me tell you, I was not always like this. In fact, I was a terrible student growing up. Honestly, I don't know how I made it as far as I did so fast because I was terrible. I was, mind-numbingly terrible. I swear in high school, I almost failed my junior year of high school, okay? Literally almost failed my junior, failed out of school, okay? The only reason why I didn't was because I had too many credits, so they couldn't hold me back, and I was like, whoo. But I did have to take a junior year class my senior year of high school, but we can talk about that at another time, because that's kind of a whole other video. So we're just gonna push that thought aside. Anyways, let's get started. So, my big thing and my number one step to taking your diabetes to school is obviously being confident in it. And that's why I said I would link below the Embracing Your Diabetes video, because my thought process is that if you can be open with it, then it makes your life, telling your faculty members, your teachers, you're everyone more important, because let's be honest, sure, they could read the 504 plan that, they're supposed to read, but if your 504 plan is anything like mine, which was co-written by the ADA with my crazy mother, who I love more than anything, it's my 504 makes a Harry Potter book look tiny. Alright? My 504 has like sections, subsections, sub-subsections, sub-sub-subsections. It is very stressful to read. I tried to read it once and I got stressed out. Like, I literally sat there crying and shaking. It was terrible. It is so thick, okay? So, some teachers may not read all of your 504, they may skim it. So, what I tried to do when I got to high school was get to know my 504. Tried to live it and, like, breathe my 504. Yeah, so that is my I guess my second step would be to know your 504 plan, Because, yeah, sure, if you have the confidence and you can talk to your faculty members, that's great. That is absolutely wonderful. But when do you get to the point where your parents stop coming to 504 meetings, you know? So I obviously tried to get to know my 504 to make my job, my mom's job, and my teacher's job just a little bit easier. Because let's be honest, sometimes when they're lengthy like that, you don't want to read them. It took me, what was it? I think a month my freshman year of high school to read the entire thing, like, cover to cover. Cover to cover. And for those of you who don't know what a 504 plan is, it is also known as an IEP, and there was one other one. I'm not sure what it's called off the top of my head, I'm sorry. But a 504 plan basically gives basic instructions for how you need to be taken care of while you're at school. What kind of insulin you should be taking, how you should be taking it. It's basically written with your doctor, and it's not quite your orders, but it's like descriptions of things that should go on. Like in mine, it always said that like I couldn't be refused to go to the bathroom, because if I had to go to the bathroom, I had to go. Stuff like that. Then, obviously, stemming off of that to step 3 is you should always know your orders. Okay. My freshman year of high school, I was off the pump for about a month and a half. I'll do a video about that later, too. That's another, like, personal story. That's a different story. But I was off the pump, and I, like, barely knew my orders. I didn't know my correction factor, my carb count. It was terrible. I just didn't know. So, my school nurse was great. I still talk to my school nurse from high school on, like, a daily basis. I am best friends with her daughters. I absolutely, like, this woman is literally like a mom to me. Like, I love her more than words will ever tell you. So she was really good at helping me, like, learn my orders and remember them. And obviously, when I was wearing a pump again, it wasn't as hard, and it didn't require me to really know my orders, but it's so important to know them just in case. Like, to this day, I still can't, like, I can tell you most of my carb ratios and, like, my correction factor, how long my insulin is active for, but, like, I'm not as concrete and solid with them, if that makes sense. But it's so important to have a general gist of what your orders are. If you're allowed to check in the classroom, if you have to check with supervision. I have had people who I've seen that with on their orders. I don't have that because I, would rather be in class kind of thing. So, stemming on to 4. I can't count today. This is why I need to go back to school. Number 4 is always be, assured that you are prepared. So, for example, when I was in high school, my high school had the rule that we could, girls and boys could carry backpacks or purses because we all had these MacBooks that we were transporting. So it just was how everyone did everything. So, getting my bag ready for the school day, which depending on, like, what bag it was, what bag I was feeling that day, which could have differed. It was a matter of having my blood tester, something to treat a low blood sugar with, my ketone meter, and, like, water. Now, let me be honest, I was never that good about having my stuff on me. I kept, like, a box of sites and reservoirs and insulin in the nurse's office, which was great, but I never remembered to carry them with me, like, throughout high school, and it was terrible. Like, I would remember to have my meter on me, Sometimes I wouldn't have extra strips. I was just very unprepared, and it made my education and my learning take a back seat. And that is, like, one of the most terrible things I could have ever done. All right? Like, if I regret anything from being in high school, it is how irresponsible I was. I wish I could go back and change that now. You know, it's just so important to be prepared. And then, like, stepping off of that, and I know you guys are going to call me a hypocrite for this, but I'm really working on it right now. Wearing a medical alert bracelet is beyond important. Okay. I know I don't wear one right now. I just ordered one off of Lauren's Hope. It'll be here in a couple of weeks. I'm very excited about it. And you guys will all get to see it, because I'm going to do an unboxing video when it gets here. But it is so important to wear one, okay? I tried phone cases. For those of you who don't know, on the iOS 8 and up, there's the emergency medical alert on the phone itself. Which, for those of you who don't know how to set it up, just go to your health application, enter in all your information, and then you can add it to the medical alert screen. So yeah, sure, we have all of this technology that we can use, but that is the safest and quickest bet, because most people, if you pass out, are not going to think to look at your phone. Just, they're not. So, please, I know that sounds really hypocritical right now, but I promise mine is on the way. So please make sure you guys have one. It is beyond important. It could save your life. Mine was like $74 with shipping. I don't have any more money right now, but it is going to potentially save my life one day. So I am totally okay with that. All right, that was my little speech. Sorry, guys. So then, number 5, I would say one of the most important things is, you know, once your teachers have read your 504, letting them know that if they have questions, that they are very welcome to ask. Now, in a video I'll film it in a later time, I'm going to talk about teachers who couldn't follow 504 or didn't want to ask questions and just made my education so hard on me. I want you guys to have an open line of communication with your teachers. I don't care if it's, you know, talking about your grades, but if you are comfortable enough to talk to your teacher about your grades, I feel like you guys should be comfortable enough to be like, hey, if you have any questions, you know, please just ask, because I don't want any confusion. I don't want to mix up. I don't want something bad to happen. I want you guys to feel open with your teachers. They are some of the most supportive and amazing people you will ever have in your life. You know, your teachers, though you think they're out to get you sometimes, I was the first person to think this a lot of my life, but they really and honestly just want to see you succeed. And I'm sure that if something happened and you couldn't succeed, they would feel absolutely terrible. Just keep the lines of communication open. They are so important. Number 6, if your parents need to get involved, ask them to get involved. Now, for those of you who don't know me that well, I have like a huge pride problem, okay? And like, I never want to ask for help because I see it as a sign of weakness. But I definitely have learned, like, even since leaving high school, that asking for help is totally okay. If you need your parents to step in because you've said multiple things to a teacher, a faculty member, whoever it may be, about your diabetes, and they've definitely seen your 504 and they're still not following, go ahead and ask your parents to step in and just say something. Or even ask the school nurse, you know. That could help. Again, it's different for everybody, but, you know, always ask for help if you feel like you need it. It's so important, and I think it took me too long to realize that. Like, I am 19 years old right now, and I'm like, you know, I should have learned this, like, 4 years ago when I was, like, 15, but I was so headstrong and so stubborn. I didn't want to believe I ever needed help, and I think that is one of my greatest downfalls, and it's just so important, you know. Anyone will tell you now that I will ask for help, but it'll be, like, very, like, subtly and, like, very quietly. But it's so important to ask for it if you need it, you know, just so important. And that's why I try to do these videos, because, you know, maybe you don't want to ask for help or want to ask for suggestions. So I do these so that you guys can, you know, get suggestions from someone who's lived it. and maybe make it a little bit easier on you. So that is why I do what I do, you know? Yeah. Sorry, guys. Number 7. Now this I know I've mentioned in other videos, which is that you write your blood sugar, like, wherever you can on the test, because if your teachers do makeup tests, like my senior year of high school, I had a physics teacher who always did makeup tests. No matter what the test was, we could make it up. So whenever we had a test, I'd say to him, all right, Mr. Gruber, I'm going to check my blood sugar, and I'm going to write it on the top of the test so that when we get this test back, if it's a bad grade, I need to decipher if I really knew the material or if I didn't know the material that well, and I just need to, you know, restudy before I take the retake. And he'd be like, okay, that's fine. And I did this with all of my teachers, just so we knew where I was running to see how it affected test scores. Now, another thing that's really weird about me is that I could study for a test for like 7 hours, but sometimes I can't get the words out of my face. So for a while, like my sophomore and junior year, I was taking a lot of my tests verbally because for some reason I could get A's taking a test and just speaking the test instead of, just, silently taking it. I don't know. My senior year, I took all of my tests regularly and did pretty well. So I don't know. Maybe I just decided to get over, I don't know. But I would always write my blood sugar on the top of all my tests because it was actually very useful. Like, I one time got, a D- in, engineering, and I couldn't tell you why because I knew the unit, forwards and backwards. I stayed after school with my engineering teacher constantly because if I didn't understand something, I wanted to understand. So I would always, just stay after school with her and try to figure stuff out. And, most of the time I had an A in that class. So to randomly, out of nowhere, get a D when she knew that I knew this material, because the night before I was at the high school with her until, 6 o'clock at night, getting this material, in my head. She's like, I don't understand. And I'm like, oh, well, let's look at the blood sugar on the top sheet of the exam, or the test, and let's figure it out. My blood sugar was, 65, so I must have treated beforehand, and just something went wrong. And she's like, okay, that makes more sense, because, you were here the day before, literally, basically shouting these definitions and how to do this stuff at me, so I couldn't make sense of this. And I was like, now we got it. So I'm not trying to say to use your diabetes as a crutch, because don't at all. But it's just very helpful in the situation, because in a situation like that one, where the day before the test I was there with the answers, and then we couldn't explain why there was a D on the test, it was right there in front of me. Took the test again about 2 days later when my blood sugar was 150 and I got an A-. Oh, surprise! So, yeah, I feel like it's really important. Also, obviously, if you're going to be, studying for tests, do not pull an all-nighter. I did that so many times and got so sick, and you guys probably didn't know this, but the less sleep you get, your body actually can shoot out adrenaline, and it can cause a spike in blood sugars. So don't pull all-nighters. It can cause high blood sugars, and that's not a good way to take a test. Obviously, when you're studying, make sure you're checking pretty frequently so that, you know where you're running. Make sure you have a studying system that works for you. For me, it was always flashcards. I made them. I literally, the last time I cleaned my room, after I graduated, I literally threw out a stack this thick of just flashcards that I hand wrote. They're very useful. You can quiz yourself, you can have someone else quiz you, and it's just an easy way to get all of the information into your head. So yeah, that is my survival guide. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry, it did get kind of ranty there. Hey, I warned you. So anyways, good luck with your upcoming classes, good luck with exams, and have a wonderful night. I'm saying night because it is 8:32 right now. So yeah, have a good one, guys. Thank you so much for all your love and support, and I will see you soon. Bye!